Hey everybody, it is Kellen Nitro for Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited coming at you with another edition of Nitro's Take. A little bonus one as this event kind of snuck up on me on the calendar, but I always watch it. It's always an intriguing event. It is Slammiversary 2021. It took place in Nashville, Tennessee at the Skyway Studios, the new Impact Zone, if you will, on July 17th. 2021, and here is my take on the events of the evening. Now, the reason why I always watch this is kind of become annually now the first open date that a lot of wrestlers that have gotten releases from WWE, use to show up on Impact programming or independent programming, if you will. We seen it last year with a huge free agent class coming into Impact, and was this year's class as big? Well, I'll let you be the judge. In my opinion, So we see during the pre-show a awesome video encapsulating Impact/TNA's history. Go back and see it if you haven't. It's quite epic. And then we go right into our pre-show match, which was a late addition to the card. The Knockouts tag team titles on the line. Rosemary and Havoc with Decay, which is Black Taurus and Crazy Steve, taking on Fire and Flava, which is Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan, who were the champions going into this card. And this match ran 8 minutes and 55 seconds. The finish of this thing was a massive tombstone piledriver off of a backpack sleeper attempt by Kiera Hogan on Jessica Havoc, but Jessica Havoc nails the massive tombstone piledriver. 1, 2, 3, and we have new Knockouts tag team champions in Decay. And this is kind of a showcase of the new Decay, if you will. The repurposed Decay now of 4 members with Black Taurus, Crazy Steve, and now with Rosemary and Havoc, kind of put themselves together as a tag team now. I believe the name the fans have coined for them is the Deaf Dealers. So, very passable match, great match. I honestly still thought that Grace and Rachel Ellering were the Impact Tag Team Champions, Women's Tag Team Champions, I should say. So I was quite surprised coming into this pay-per-view. I hadn't watched Impact Wrestling in a while coming into this, so all of the storylines and that stuff were basically new to me coming in. So a more than solid opener, and we get right into the pay-per-view. We have a beautiful intro featuring Sami Callihan, and then right into the opening contest of the pay-per-view, which was the Ultimate X for the X Division title. Here were the names, and this was a star-studded affair. Trey Miguel, Ace Austin, Petey Williams, Rohit Raju, Chris Bay, and Josh Alexander, the champion, going into this thing. What a star-studded field. So runtime for Ultimate X, 15:45, with Josh Alexander retaining his title. The finish was wild. The entire match itself, I felt that the first 10 minutes really was a high-paced, almost old-school Ultimate X style. And then I kind of fell off pace a little bit. And it kind of did a reverse of a normal match, in my opinion. It kind of just got a little bit more, I don't want to say dozy, but it kind of started up here and kind of went down a little bit as the match went on. But the first 10 minutes were phenomenal. It fell off a bit after, but the original ending paying tribute to the Ultimate X4 finish between Michael Shane and Frankie Kazarian back in the day. Bay and Alexander fight for the belt. Austin tries a wild grab at the belt, but it knocks Bay off of the center of the apparatus for Ultimate X, allowing Alexander to retain by merely grabbing the belt. And yeah, a very similar finish to that Ultimate X4 finish way back in the day, which I think was 2004. It might even have been 03, but between Michael Shane and Frankie Kazarian, one of the better Ultimate X matches that you'll see. If you have access to Impact Plus, go check it out. Our next contest, a mixed tag. We had Brian Myers and Tennille Dashwood taking on Matt Cardona and question mark. Boy, I wonder who the question mark is here. It's Chelsea Green. I love the Scott Hall tribute gear for both Cardona and Green in this match. Myers going for a spear, but Cardona catches him. Tennille goes for a low blow on Cardona, but Matt has an athletic supporter on, and that enables Chelsea Green to nail Tennille later on in the match with a low blow with the cast into an unprettier for the 1, 2, 3. So many callbacks to previous instances between the 4 of them. It was for the podcast fans, man. It didn't do much for me, but Chelsea Green is back in Impact, and she's one of the question marks that was coming into this thing on who would be coming back. So she is one of the free agents, and it's basically going to be splitting her time, I think, between Impact and Ring of Honor, because it sounds like she's going to be involved in this Ring of Honor, Women of Honor tournament that's happening on Ring of Honor TV as well. So going to get a lot of dates between the two promotions. I think it's a good spot for her, and yeah, maybe we'll see her by Bound for Glory in challenging for the Knockouts title or Knockout tag titles or something. We'll have to wait and see. Runtime for that one was 6 minutes and 5 seconds. The runtime for Ultimate X, by the way, 15:45. Next contest, W. Morrissey taking on Eddie Edwards. The crowd singing along to Eddie's theme, Welcome Back. This was a classic big man annihilating a babyface pace early on, but the crowd is willing Eddie on behind him 100%. Eddie fights back, but a huge choke slam into the apron by Morrissey. Boston knee party by Edwards onto the outside to Morrissey, and the Blue Thunder Bomb only nets 2 for Eddie. Morrissey nails Edwards with a chain. Power Bomb, 1, 2, 3, and the undefeated streak continues. Already for W. Morrissey. Again, the runtime for that one was 11 minutes even. And yeah, all that was trying to establish W. Morrissey again as a big heel on the Impact roster. He has the undefeated streak. Is that putting him in line for a title shot potentially? Maybe something on the mid card, maybe even, I'd hate to say an X Division title shot, but going load up and going after tag titles to somebody or something along those lines. I think that'd be very interesting to see with the former Kaz XL / Big Cass going forward. And I wonder if his partner would be the obvious choice or if they would bring in somebody different. I don't know. We didn't see a vignette for a potential Drama King Aiden English debut in Impact in the coming weeks. As I scratch my chin, I wonder. Fulton and Shira didn't brawl out of the back. They were upset because they were banned from ringside from helping their I guess the people they're paid to protect, Rohit and Ace Austin during the Ultimate X match. And Scott D'Amore comes out and brings out Finjuice. So it's an impromptu match with Finjuice versus Fulton and Shira. Shira and Fulton with huge continuity errors and just they can't get along. So this match is quick. So a Dudley Dog by Finlay on Fulton. That's the 1, 2, 3. As Finjuice returns to Impact after the latest New Japan Pro Wrestling tour. So there we go. By the way, the runtime for that, only 1:15. Hardly worth reporting to everybody, but it's there. There you go. There's your info that you need. Up next on Slammiversary, we had Moose versus Chris Sabin. This was a strongly built program going into the pay-per-view, as I recall seeing multiple threads about this across different wrestling forums and not RSPW. Holy smokes. Holy Time Warp, Batman. Reddit and everything. On Twitter, you name it. Strongly built program going into the pay-per-view. Sabin taking it to Moose early. 2 attempts at Moose's famous hanging dropkick in the corner, but they end up empty, but big chops later on in the match by Moose on Sabin. For the finish of this match, Moose, of course, in control, hitting Sabin with a ton of power moves in his repertoire and everything. But Sabin reaches down and nails the small package for the 1, 2, 3. Sabin nets the W in a runtime of 12 minutes even. Again, this was a strongly built match going into this pay-per-view, and I think the match did the program more than just honors, and fantastic stuff across the board from both gentlemen going into this thing. The next match was the 4-way tag team match for the Impact World Tag Team Championship. You had the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson, Violent by Design. This time, Joe Doring and Rhino, the team that won the titles initially, Rich Swann and Willie Mack. And it was supposed to be Falaba and TJP, but TJP ended up getting injured in training earlier this week, so he's out. They have to bring in a special. It's again another one of those question marks. It's going to be a mystery man coming into Impact. Who did they get? Well, no way. Just no way. There's no Jose. You can't go no way Jose because that's WWE trademark, and you don't want to hit up WWE on the trademark. So just no way. Even though they botched it during the live broadcast and said no way Jose, but it's just no way. So it's still pretty cool to see him. I don't think we've seen No Way on a major stage since leaving WWE, but I think his leaving dates back to even last year's cuts. So on April 15th, 2020, Jose was released along with various other superstars and backstage talent as part of budget cuts stemming from the COVID-19 pandemic. So his release actually dates back to last year to the first round of COVID cuts back in April of 2020, April 15th of 2020. So, kind of interesting to see him back into the fold with Impact. We'll have to wait and see where this leads. The finish of this match here was Rhino goes for the gore on No Way, but Gun Stun and Magic Killer by the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson, and then Anderson and Gallows nets the 1-2 and the Good Brothers are your new Impact World Tag Team Champions again for the second time. So loading up the Elite with the Impact belts, and yes, the Elite will be indeed loaded for bear with the Impact titles. Runtime for that one was 10 minutes and 10 seconds, and we go right on to the next contest, which was a singles match for the Knockouts Championship, the Impact Knockouts Championship. Deonna Purrazzo is the Knockouts Champion. She was taking on question mark, yes, the mystery person. Again, who is the question mark? The third anticipated return / new signing to Impact is, well, for one night at least, Thunder Rosa. Well, let's get it on. Two of the most highly decorated women's wrestlers right now in pro wrestling. Two of the women that have the most momentum behind them. Thunder Rosa has been wrestling everywhere, as we've seen with NWA and on AEW and you name it. And Deonna Purrazzo just lighting up these Impact cards like nobody's business. So, excellent amateur exchange to open. There was a Venus de Milo attempt by Purrazzo, but Rosa reverses into a choke. Equals no dice. A double stomp by Rosa, stacks pin, only nets a 2 count. The Thunder Driver attempt on Deonna reverses into a small package, only nets a 2 count, but Deonna hits the Queen's Gambit for the 1-2 and Purrazzo retains her title. The runtime for this one was 10 minutes and 30 seconds, but the excitement doesn't stop there. Post-match, Mickie James hits the ring, and this was a major development tonight. Mickie invites Deonna to the NWA Empower all-women's pay-per-view that is being put together for August 28th, Chase Ballroom, St. Louis. It's going to be on pay-per-view, iPay-per-view, Fight TV, you name it, all across the board. But Deonna refuses, but Mickie lays out Deonna with the chick kick. So going into August 28th, will the main event be for the Impact Knockouts Women's Championship? We'll have to wait and see. But man, wouldn't that be cool to have Purrazzo and James go one-on-one for that belt at the Chase Ballroom in St. Louis? As an NWA fam member, I'm in. Let's do it. Couple important dates for Impact Wrestling fans. July 31st is Homecoming, and they are planning a big mixed tag tournament for that, evidently. And October 23rd, the site has been picked for Bound for Glory this year, and it's not in Nashville at the Skyway Studios. Instead, it is Las Vegas, Nevada. Details forthcoming on venue and so on and so forth. That might even be Sam's Town once again in Vegas, where Ring of Honor usually does a lot of pay-per-views and so on and so forth. So we'll have to wait and see. Impact World Heavyweight Championship on the line in the main event. You had the champion Kenny Omega versus the challenger Sami Callihan. And oh yes, this was a no DQ contest. Hot start though, and a near fall for Callihan after a stuffed piledriver. Only nets a 2 count. Callihan takes a pizza cutter to Omega, and it's already a death match. This is a total 180 from what I thought this would be. I thought actually we were going to get a real decent wrestling match out of the two of them, but it's another death match, and hey, Kenny hangs with Callihan in this match, and you know, it's with heel interference and that stuff at the finish, and you name it, and just heel tactics. But the runtime is 27:45, and in that 27:45, Omega retains the Impact Wrestling Championship, and again can prove that he can do deathmatch stuff, which is a dimension of his game that I didn't know he had. And you know, again, I go back to my comment going back to Full Gear back in 2019. It's watching Omega in a deathmatch type environment is like watching a Ferrari in a snowstorm. I mean, you could do it, but why would you want to? This was still kind of a question mark for me, but I did enjoy this match. I thought it was a match of the card for sure. It definitely built up to an awesome surprise by the end of the night, where the lights of the entire Impact Zone go out. Bullet Club music hits, and it's Jay White. The Good Brothers and Omega want to throw it up, and we see someone run from the back. Maybe it's Juice Robinson, because there has been a little bit of a rivalry between Juice and Jay White throughout the years in New Japan, but we fade to black. So we'll have to tune in on Impact to find out exactly who that was. Or maybe you looked on Twitter and seen. I haven't looked yet and seen exactly who that was. But I had a runtime of 3 hours and 9 minutes just because I started my timer early at the beginning of the pre-show match. So, if that's 3:09, you can deduct 8:55. And so just about 3 hours or so, maybe 2:59, you name it, for the actual run time of the actual pay-per-view. My ranking out of 10 is I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was a very strong effort from Impact tonight. The surprises were kind of mid-road to but I think it'll be really cool to see what they do with Aiden English on Impact Television. I think it's going to be obviously it's good having Chelsea Green jump back into the Impact Wrestling fold for the Knockouts division. Gives another competitor to go in there, another dimension to it. Man, Thunder Rosa, is she part of Impact now, or was that just a one-night thing? And same with Mickie James. Is she part of Impact now, or is that just a one-night agreement with the NWA? We'll have to wait and see. Is that just baiting, throwing the fishing line out there and baiting the lure so Deonna can jump in on the Empower pay-per-view to defend the Impact title? How many independent promotions are going to be on that card defending titles? That could be the all-in for women's wrestling. It could be huge. So we'll have to wait and see with that. And of course, Jay White, Kenny Omega, is Bullet Club fine? Once again, we find out and wait and see. All right, folks, later days, happy wrestling watching. We'll catch you next time here on Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. I'm Kellen Nitro. Do take care, and we'll see you next time.